This is a Black Eagle Entertainment presentation. Thank you for your time. Welcome to the show. Potoi, let's go.
Hear it every single year, right? That big debate. Which conference is really better, the NFC or the AFC? And look, it's about more than just bragging rights. It actually shapes the playoff picture and, yeah, even our Super Bowl predictions. So today, we're going to break it all down. We're going to settle the score and really dive into the data. So let's just get right to it. As we head into the second half of the season, who is really the top dog in the league? Is it the conference with those few super elite teams, or is it the one that's just solid from top to bottom? The answer? Well, it might actually surprise you, and it all starts with one very simple number. And there it is, +3. That's it. When you look at the head-to-head games between the two conferences, the NFC has a 3-game lead. Now I know it seems small, but that tiny number tells a huge story about what each conference is all about. So how exactly did the NFC get this leg up? Well, see, the thing about the NFC is that their strength isn't coming from one or two juggernauts just steamrolling everybody. No, their power comes from balance, from depth. They've got a whole crowd of legit contenders, which makes the entire conference feel like a gauntlet, week in and week out. I mean, just look at this list. You've got 5 teams with 6 or more wins already. The Eagles, practically a lock for the playoffs. The Seahawks aren't just winning, they're blowing teams out. And what's cool is they all do it differently. You've got the Rams' high-flying offense, the Lions' steady consistency, and the Bucs who just know how to win those ugly, close games. It's an absolute murderer's row of really good, well-rounded football teams. And hey, it's not just the top dogs either. The middle of the NFC is jam-packed with teams making serious playoff pushes. You've got the Bears, who are getting hot at just the right time, the ever-solid Packers, and the 49ers, who are just showing incredible toughness, staying right in the hunt even though they've been crushed by injuries. This strong middle class is the secret ingredient to the NFC's success. This quote from the analysis just hits the nail on the head. The NFC's edge is built on that foundation of balance. When you have 7 teams with winning records, you're always throwing a tough opponent at the other conference. So the key takeaway here is simple: their strength is in their numbers. All right, now let's flip the script and talk about the AFC, because it's a completely different story over there. If the NFC is all about depth, the AFC is a tale of a few massive titans at the very top, and then a pretty steep drop-off. It's truly a conference of extremes. I mean, look, the AFC has these 3 absolute monsters at the top, all sitting at a stellar 8-2. There's the Colts, who are just quietly dismantling everyone they play. The Broncos might be the biggest surprise of the entire season. And then you have the Patriots, doing it the Patriot way, winning with a defense that just suffocates you. There is no doubt the top of the AFC is elite. But here's the catch. For every one of those titans, there's a team stuck in what we're calling the drag zone. The bottom of the AFC is, well, it's really weak. 4 teams with 2 wins or less. All told, you have 5 AFC teams with a winning percentage of .333 or lower. And that is a huge problem for them, basically canceling out all that dominance we see at the top. And this quote right here, it just drives the whole point home. The complete collapse of the AFC's bottom half is the entire story. It creates this top-heavy conference where, yeah, the best teams are fantastic, but the rest of the pack is dragging the whole group down in those head-to-head matchups. That's how you get to that deficit against the NFC. Okay, so we've got the stories for each conference, right? The NFC is all about balanced depth, and the AFC is all about top-heavy power. So now, let's put them side by side and let the hard data do the talking. Let's see where the real advantages are. This table breaks it all down for us at a glance. Right at the top, you see that +3 edge for the NFC in the overall record, but the real story is in the rows below. The NFC has more teams above .500, and, this is the big one, the AFC has way more teams struggling at the bottom. Let's actually visualize a couple of these numbers, because it really makes the difference pop. First up, let's look at teams with the winning record. Pretty simple. The NFC clocks in with 8, the AFC has 7. Now, it's not a huge gap, but it just reinforces that theme we've been talking about, depth. There's just a bigger pool of good, winning football teams in the NFC right now. Okay, now for the other side of the coin. This is where you see the real separation, the number of teams that are really struggling. The AFC has 5 teams at or below that .333 winning mark. The NFC only has 3. This right here is that drag we were talking about in chart form. This is the AFC's Achilles heel. And finally, let's look at the best of the best. Even if you only compare the top 5 teams from each conference, the NFC's top tier is just plain outscoring the AFC's. A plus 140-point differential versus plus 100, I mean, that's not just winning, that's winning convincingly. It shows the offensive firepower in the NFC is for real. So as it stands, the NFC has the bragging rights. But you know how fast things can change in this league, right? This battle is far, far from over. Things are always changing, and a couple of key games could shift the balance of power in a single weekend. So what should you be watching for?
All right, here's what you need to keep an eye on. For the NFC to hold this lead, their top teams, your Eagles, your Seahawks, they have to keep winning these big cross-conference games. For the AFC to fight back, it's going to be on those middle-tier teams like the Chiefs and the Bills to really step up, especially on defense. The bottom line is that +3 lead is fragile. A couple of upsets and this whole narrative gets flipped on its head.
And that brings us to the final question, the one that's going to define the rest of this season. Is the raw power of the AFC's top 3 teams enough to carry the conference and reclaim dominance? Or is the NFC's balanced top-to-bottom depth going to win out in the long run? It's a classic battle, and we're going to have to watch the rest of the season to find out.